A friend of mine asked me about cleaning the bottom sweep on their shower door assembly. What I recommended was that they just go on YouTube and find a tutorial. The tutorials that they saw, and I kind of confirmed, I didn't look that hard, but it was all videos of swinging doors and not sliding doors. The concept is basically the same, but getting the bottom sweep off is a little bit different. I wanted you to see how to take the sweep off with the door in place without having to take the door off. So basically it does drop off. You just kind of have to keep pushing it down as you close the door and then slide it this way. Now you notice that the door is completely closed and this is not out yet. So you have to push down on this and then gently bring it up like this. Just take it easy. Don't push up on the door. Just push down on this and then just kind of, it's flexible enough. And then it comes off. I did one at a time. These can get pretty dirty. Even though I just cleaned this one, I'm thinking, it still needs a little bit of cleaning. You could do it inside the tub, but you might risk scratching the tub. I'd recommend doing this outside. They're too big for a sink. This one was completely impacted with mineral deposits, soap deposits, and years of neglect and not being cleaned. So I cleaned it using these instruments here. I used a 5-in-1 putty knife, a really deep scrub brush, and anything with bristles at least this deep you're going to need, because there's grooves in here and you're going to need to get in there and get stuff out. And a regular toothbrush. I think for this one, let's see, yeah, you can do it regularly. These kind of, sometimes you can take a toothbrush and make it a little bit more utilitarian by bending it like this, so it's easier to use back in the corners and stuff like this. So you can just bend a toothbrush like this. And Comet cleanser and a sponge. This one has some Scotch-Brite kind of material on this side, and you may or may not need to use that. There's mineral deposits in these corners here, and you get that off with a Scotch-Brite. Use the putty knife with caution. You don't want to damage this or scratch aluminum if you're trying to get off mineral deposits. Be really careful when you're using the putty knife, because it will put holes in this. You can lacerate this material. Don't leave it in the shower, of course, after you're done, because it will rust. First thing I did was to just brush the loose stuff off. I made a little sort of paste out of the cleanser. You can use any kind of cleanser, it doesn't have to be Comet. If you're doing this inside, remember, this is caustic and it can bleach. Don't get it on places where you don't want it. Gloves, absolutely. Eye protection. When you're using a brush, the bristles can splatter stuff at your face, and you don't want anything from the sweep or the shower door frame getting in your eyes. You just don't want that. So eyeglass protection. If you're outside, same thing, eyeglass protection, because that scrubbing, you just won't want anything getting flicked up into your face and your eyes. Anyway, let's pretend I'm outside. I had a little dish with Comet cleanser and some water, like a little sort of paste, and just go in here and just scrub this stuff out. You got to take your time. This is intense, the mildew, and I actually took this 5-in-1 and went in here and pulled stuff out with this because it was so impacted. I also, you can see actually, I didn't do such a great job, it's not 100%. So I had to scrape minerals away from this edge here really gently. I don't want to ding this up. I will say this for myself is that, I'm in here with this 5-in-1 and pulling stuff out, and I did not harm this sweep at all. Also too, you may need this putty knife to go up here and scrape like this. All the other videos that I saw, and I went back and I confirmed this for myself, is that I didn't see a lot of recognition of the fact that if you neglect this for a while, that material is just not going to come off with any kind of magic cleaner. I'm sorry. There's no amount of soaking and stuff. I mean, do you really want to soak something for 3 days? So there's little grooves everywhere here. So clean this out really, really good, and then rinse it really, really good. That's the main thing. And then go back, brush, clean everything until it's at least as clean as this. If you do a better job, great. But I think this is probably 5 years old and hadn't been touched in that whole time, I guarantee you. So when you are taking this off, you'll notice that this whole area where the sweep was is impacted with crud too. The places that were really the most difficult as far as getting stuff off were these little ends. It was crazy just like how tough this stuff was. And you can see even now that there's some really, really slight deposits that are still there. So you may need to use your scraper or putty knife or whatever you use really gently and scrape some of this stuff off. This is where the brushes and the sponges come in. So again, using some Comet Cleanser, you could put it on the side here and make a little pile of the powder itself, and just go back and just scrub. And you'll obviously get the swing of, you know, how to manipulate the doors back and forth. I'm doing this, I don't want a lot of swinging activity and stuff, and I mean, if the door comes up track, it's easier to lift up and stuff, but I just didn't want to go through that. It's not my place and I don't want to ruin anything, so I just, you know, gently cleaned all this stuff off. Scrape, and then rinse. The rinsing is a hassle for this part of it because, I mean, you're only like right here and then water's going out onto the floor. So what I did is I had a bucket outside and, you know, rinse. I had a cloth and used a sponge too and just rinse. When I was all done with everything, then you know, I went back and I just cleaned the doors. Going back into these areas here, as soon as you get this off and you want to clean, you're going to clean a little bit on the bathtub side of it, really gently, just gently with this scraper. You can hear me, I'm just kind of gently scraping, not touching the finish at all, just letting the tool do the work and not my hands. Same within here. So here is where our toothbrush comes in, and I'm going to get in here and do these little areas with the toothbrush. And I can get, since the sweep is off, now remember the sweep is off here, I'm going to get in to this little area right here. It goes right under the door, right here. You can see that this toothbrush goes right under the door, and then you'll be able to get these channels under the door in the middle divider. And you'll be able to turn it like this and get all that junk out of there. And you're going to see when you really start cleaning this that you're glad that you have your protective glasses on. When you're in the tub, I mean, this is for the purposes of making this video. I have a towel here, and that would extend all the way over to the other side, and then I would go about it the other direction and clean this whole track. Going into these corners here and clean. You know, making sure that all of the debris is gone. Once you get it all cleaned up, put it all back together. This is just a reverse order. Just push up on this here and start feeding it. I like to keep everything onto this the door frame part of it, so I'm not scratching this up and messing with the finish on this. It's just, you know, fiberglass. So goes this. You can see that I'm gonna bring it out like this, and the sweep goes on like that. So I'm going to make sure that both sides are equal. I have one hand, my right hand here, my left hand here, and I'm making sure that they're both equal. And then I'm just going to push up, you know, holding onto the door and making sure that the sweep is snug up to the bottom of the glass sliding door. And once that's all done, then just take some glass cleaner or whatever you use, some bathroom shower enclosure cleaner, and clean the doors really good. That's pretty much it.